time to fix my camera. There we go. What's up, people? Secretary of Funk back on deck. Lord have mercy. It's been a long time, but I finally got the motivation. I finally got up off my ass. I plugged my hold on. I plugged my webcam back in, and we're back in business. I got a lot of new LPs, man. Let me tell you, I've besides the stuff that I've just been randomly finding in the streets, like the stuff that I go for online and everything like that, man. I have really been going hard after free, not improvised, but free and spiritual jazz, and I got a lot of pieces that I want to share with you guys. The first one that I'm playing right now is this one right here. It's on Legend Records. This came out in 1973. Buddy Collette. If you can hear it, this LP was done after a 9-year hiatus by him. He came back with a new sound, and it's like mixed with cool jazz. I like it because there's like 3 or 4 cuts. Let me see. Out of 7 songs, there's like 3 or 4 that are kind of like, dare I say, spiritual, or more. If you're entering the free realm of things, it's like right there, and it's just enough for me to go and cop this. It's not terribly expensive. I think it was like $20, but yeah. Buddy Collette. Let me see the lineup on this. Al Aarons on trumpet, Grover Mitchell on trombone, Red Callender on tuba and bass. Let me see Leroy Vinegar on bass as well. You know, Frank Chavez, Frank Severino on the drums. So, you know, this is actually a nice album, and as you heard, um, this is on side 2. The song we're listening to right now. I'm sorry, this is side 1. The song that we're listening to right now on side 1 is called Safari West. That's probably one of the more popular cuts off of this, but yeah, man, look at that. I don't know if, and there you go. You got the flute coming back in. It's kind of spiritual. I mean, right? I love that. You don't really find that type of flute playing in like post bop or hard bop. So I mean, and it's definitely not avant-garde. It's not that out there. It's jamming. I love it. So let me take this off. Okay. To tell you guys a story before I get into sharing the albums with you guys. You're not gonna believe this. This is a funny story actually. Um, Last week I decided. Well, I'm sorry. Hold on. So last week I was doing some digging on the weekend, and I was in the Goodwill here in DC. It's like really the only one that's in DC. I mean, there's plenty in the area, but actually in the boundaries in the border of DC, there's only one. Yeah, there's only one. And I went there, and there were all these records from the Library of Congress, and I was like, wow. And you know, they were it was classical, and they were somewhat collectible. I could tell that I was kind of late to the game just because all of them had something wrong with them. All of them had like either it was either the spine was like super like just bent out of shape, or it had one big blemish on it, and I could tell by there were the just off labels, but they were like the Yana Stalkers of the world, so on and so forth. They were the most recognizable people. What's the Lily? Is it Lily Krauss? Her. I don't know. I'm not gonna sit up here and go crazy over it. A lot of Deutsche gramophones, some Living Stereos. They all had Library of Congress catalog numbers on it. So that probably, I was like, oh shit, man. The Library of Congress is surplusing, uh, surplusing. And getting my wallet out. I'm not scratching my butt. I know what it looks like, but nah. Library of Congress surpluses records. So I don't know anybody on Facebook saw the picture of the National Mall that I took from the top of my job, from the rooftop of my job, looking over the mall. And the United States Capitol is right there. So like literally right on the other side of the United States Capitol is the Library of Congress, the main building. I said, man, let me go over there. First of all, because living in D.C., I take for granted all of the stuff. I mean, I went up in the monument for the first time in 2010. You know, so what does that tell you? I mean, I have been to almost all of the Smithsonian museums, but you know, stuff like the Library of Congress, and I have been at the Capitol, but you know, that was you take it for granted. So I said, you know what? Let me go to the Library of Congress and look at their audio, the recorded sound section. What the fuck, man? I'm sitting there. I live in the city. Not only do I live in the city, I work probably like a quarter of a mile across the Capitol from the place that has dedicated themselves to archiving the most important articles of media and literature known to man. And I've never been. So I go over there. I just march straight in there, and I'm like, hey, where's the recorded sound part? And the guy was like, over there. So I go to the recorded sound, and I took a picture of it. It's not nothing. They have Jerry Mulligan's saxophone out there that's autographed, and that's like the only thing. Like, it's just so random. Like, why is the only artifact that they have sitting outside of this grand glass door that says recorded sound is Jerry Mulligan's? I mean, he's dope, but like it's just so weird. Like they would have just his, no pictures of anybody else, just his. So I thought that was strange. And so then I go in the door and I'm like, oh yeah, point me to the records. Basically, in so many words I said that, and the lady was like, "Are you a researcher?" And I'm like, "No." She was like, "Well, you can't be here if you're not a researcher." And I'm like, "Well, how do you get research?" Or she said, "No, you can't be here if you don't have research credentials." And I'm like, wait a minute. I'm sitting here thinking to myself, I'm like, wait a minute, this shit is free to everybody. Like, what the fuck is she talking about? Like, research credentials? What do you mean? Like, it's always been my knowledge. I mean, I've never really verified it that anybody could walk in the Library of Congress and look at a book. And so, you know, she was like, well, just go down that hall. I asked her, how do you go about doing that? Because I knew even if it was a long process, it was something that I was going to dedicate myself to doing because I just, you know, that's where I'm at right now. And so I go down to the office. I'm making this a long story. I'm sorry. Bear with me. I go down to the office and I'm like, okay, I want to look at your recorded sound section. And again, here we go. Are you a researcher? And I asked the girl, I'm like, what? I don't understand. What do you mean, am I a researcher? Are you here to research? Well, well, yeah. Oh, just fill this out. And so they gave me this, and for some reason, literally, I look like I'm 400 pounds in this picture. Unverified Library of Congress research. That's me, Secretary of Funds, a researcher. And it expires. It's expired, I think. Yeah, August 28th. So they give me, they go through all this trouble and give you this nice card with all this instruction on the back and the barcode and your picture. Library of Congress unverified researcher. And it's good for 8 days. There's some people right now that are working for the federal government that are being sequestered. And here we issue 8-day hard plastic IDs to anybody who walks through the door. That's another conversation. So I go back to the recorded sound section. And, you know, that's where things just went south. Like, I finally make my way through all of these file cabinets. Like, they look like fireproof file cabinets. I don't know. And I get to this room where all these computers are. And I'm like, am I in the recorded sound section? And the lady was like, yeah. And I could tell already that she just has an attitude. And I'm saying, so I'm looking for And I just say the first record that came to my mind that I knew the Library of Congress had. I once sold a Keith Everett, the lead singer for the Ills. I once sold his album, his first album called Bad Dude in Love. He cut it out in Northern Virginia. It's like a $900 album. For some reason, the Library of Congress has it. So I asked her about that, and she's like, "Oh yeah, yeah, yeah." And I'm like, "Oh yeah." So I'm here to see that and any other any other recordings. And she's like, "Oh, okay." You know, I'm like, "Okay, I'm about to get somewhere with this." And she's like, "Do you have a car?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I got a car." She was like, "Okay, get in your car and drive to Culpeper, Virginia, because that's where we keep all of our actual physical copies of LPs and stuff." And I'm looking at her like, did she just like make like the biggest, probably smart aleck comment that I've ever received in my life to me? Like, what the hell is this lady's problem? So I sit there and I felt challenged, you know. So I sit there and I ask her a couple of questions, which are not important. But finally, I tell her, I said, "Oh, there is one more thing that I have a question for you. What are your all's policy, you know, when you got surplus items?" "We don't do that here at the Library of Congress." "What?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "We don't surplus anything." And I'm like, "Well, I'm a record collector, and I have in my collection and have seen in thrift stores here in DC record albums that have Library of Congress stamped on them, and they have the catalog number and they have the reference number." She was like, "Oh, that's impossible." I'm like, "Lady, look, I'm not lying to you. You know what I'm saying? Like, why would I lie to you? I'm being dead serious. It says library, it's a stamp, and it has the Library of Congress." She was like, "I sure would like to see that." And by this time I had it enough. I said, "Well, fuck it, I'll bring it in." And that's when she's like, "If you bring that record album in this building, I will personally make sure it's not allowed back out." And I'm like, "What the fuck? Where am I? Is this like the damn Twilight Zone?" Like, literally. Like, I'll cut the stuff. I mean, like, so I told her I'll take a picture of it and bring it back in, but I never did. That was a disastrous trip. I thought I was going to have some leads. You talk about things going south. That was completely uncalled for, but completely caught me off guard. That's my story about the Library of Congress. So if you're ever visiting Washington, D.C., record collectors, and you think you're going to go to the Library of Congress and see some of the rare records and get to thumb through them, you're mistaken. You're going to find a rude-ass lady that's going to make smart aleck comments to you. Oh, Ham. Hey, everybody, you see Ham? Say hi, Ham. Come here. Hey, come up here. Come on. People haven't seen you, and God knows. Look, what's that? What's that? Is that a cat? Is that a cat? Where's the cat? Where's the cat, Ham? Where is it? Look at him. Where's that cat? Go get it. Get the cat. Get the cat, Ham. Oh my gosh. Hey, don't bump into the camera. Okay, y'all. So look, let me get into sharing my my albums. I'm sorry, Ham. There's not a cat. Go sit down. Oh, you know what? This is gonna be. I don't know, where am I? 14 minutes. I know you guys want me to share some albums, but let me share with the folks that are not on Facebook, because you wouldn't know this, that I met Pharoah Sanders. Joe and I, Pharoah Sanders was here for the DC Jazz Fest, playing at a place called Bohemian Caverns. And, of course, I told Joe about it. He said, "Oh, fuck that. No brainer. I'm there." Time comes for us to go. I hadn't bought my ticket yet. And I was on Facebook and I saw that Joe went like he said he was. Pharoah played 3 days, I think 2 shows each day. And I went to the last show. I think Joe went to the first show, if I'm not mistaken. Hammond, stop. Go ahead. Go over there, man. You're going to knock down my camera. Go ahead. And so Joe posted a picture of his autographed Pharoah Sanders album. I think he got Thimby autographed. And I was like, wow. So he was telling me, he was like, "Man, Pharoah is super cool. I got to talk to him. He's right there in your face. He's accessible." And I'm just like, I don't know, man. It was crazy because I went to bed Friday or Saturday night, man. Just I kept on having reoccurring dreams, like in one night, about me, like not being able to get my record autographed by Pharoah, and it was just so devastating to me. And then I'll wake up and I'll be like, "Oh, thank God, it was a dream." And then finally the day came. So I took Nicole, my wife, and we went and we saw Pharoah Sanders. It was an unbelievable show. Um, Pharoah's old man, and he was dancing and getting down. And after the show, I sat right next to his wife actually, and I did not know it was his wife until the end of the show. I sat right next to his wife, and at the end of the show, man, he was just sitting there. He was just sitting there, and actually half of the place had emptied out, and there was like a handful of people that wanted to get next to him and talk to him, shake his hand. Hey, Pharoah, how you doing? And I just asked him. I said, look, man, I told him what my favorite Pharoah LP was, and I told him that my wife is getting into jazz. He's actually a ladies' man. First of all, Pharoah Sanders is like 73 years old. His wife is no older than 40, 41. Um, and when I introduced him to my wife, he kind of lit up too. He was kind of like out of it, not when playing, but like when just sitting around and just like But he's older now. But anyway, here's the album. I don't know how that looks. Can you guys see that? Pharoah Sanders, buddy. I got him to autograph it. Gosh, man, when I walked in, literally Pharoah Sanders was sitting right there in front of me. People were just walking right by him. I was just like, man, I'm starstruck. I did not know what he was gonna sound like. I just wanted to go there and look at him. You know what I mean? I just wanted to go there and just stare at him, and I would have been happy with that. But I did get my record album autographed. So that's that. Getting into the thick of things. Yo, I ran across an album that I did not know was as good as it was. This is The Elements by Joe Henderson and Alice Coltrane. This right here, y'all. Blake, you got to get on this, man. You would love this. This is just absolutely amazing. Psychedelic at points, man. Just literally free jazz, cosmo jazz at its best. Like I have yet to find another Joe Henderson LP that sounds like this. I just haven't, man. I had no idea. It's on Milestone Records. Milestone Records, excuse me. There's a label. And it's Alice Coltrane with Joe Henderson. I'm not gonna needle drop it because I just want you all to go get it. Sequoia Flame, if you don't have it, get it. Big Star, if you don't have it, get it. Anders, I know you probably have it. Everybody, Derek, I know John Coltrane has that. I wish he would have told me about it. Let me let you guys know who's on this. You got Michael White on the violins. Hello. Kenneth Nash doing the drums and the percussion. You got Charlie Hayden on bass, Alice Coltrane on piano, harp, and some other instruments that I don't know how to pronounce. That only somebody who is halfway to the moon could probably play. And then Joe Henderson on tenor sax, alto, flute. They have flute listed twice. Tenor sax, alto. Oh, alto, flute, and flute. Okay. Yeah, man, this is an awesome, awesome LP. This is actually probably my favorite piece of music that I have collected up to date this year. I hope that says a lot. This is my favorite LP, and I'm gonna listen to it after I turn the camera off, to be honest with you. Here's my other man. This one right here, another just banger, free jazz, spiritual jazz, perfect LP on Steeplechase, 1979. This is Diani. This is the Johnny, if I'm saying it right. Everybody knows, if you don't know by now, I'm horrible with names. The Diani Quartet, Song for Biko. Everybody knows that Diani started in the Blue Notes, that group. which I don't have any of, but I will soon. I've already kind of scoped out a few on online that I'm gonna get. It's on Steeplechase, y'all. This is a bad LP. Let me see. Maybe I can needle drop that. Don Cherry, you guys, is on this. Don Cherry, Johnny Diani, Makaya Tishuku on the drums. Man, I don't know how to. Dudu Pakwana on the alto sax, or Pakwana. Let me let you guys hear this. And as you can see, I'm kind of rusty in making videos. It's been such a long time. But it'll get better. It'll get more stream. There's a fucking ladybug. Did y'all just see me jump? There's a ladybug on my damn turntable. That's strange. All right, let's see. I think I'm gonna drop it on the second song. Let's see what that's talking about. Fast forward already. Let me see. That's not what I want you to hear. So many LPs, so little time. Okay, so that's that one. Next one. Oh man, now, this is not free jazz or spiritual jazz in a sense, but this shit just has probably one of the most serious MF and bass intros I have ever heard on a jazz LP. And I love the stand-up bass. I love everything about the stand-up bass. I like all the way down to the pictures that are taken of the bassist that played the bass. I like this. I like the especially when they record it and it's like you can just hear that rustic, the imperfections in the thumping of the strings. I love everything about the bass, so I was attracted to this. Now this is on Black Hawk Records. This is Eddie Gomez, Downstretch. This is on Black Hawk Records, and this is Ellie Zygmunt and Takehiro Honda on piano, and then of course Eddie Gomez on bass. It's a trio. But let me tell you, now with the exception, I think there's only one other song on here that's kind of like cool sounding. The rest of it just kind of swings a little bit, and I'm really not too keen on jazz that swings too tough, but it's okay. But listen to this, man. Y'all gotta hear this. Then I'm gonna share one more with you all after this, and then I will have to make another one. Now, I don't know why this LP is playing so noisy, but you gotta. I've cleaned it on my record cleaner. It still ticks and pops. I look at it, I don't see nothing. So just bear with me. Listen to this. If you get this LP, you can hear right now, he's in the back like da 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 at every pluck of the string, but you can't hear it properly. Here it is. Oh, that's so bad. Oh, wait for it. It gets better. Oh. And it just gets crazy, man. That is a dope tune. Let me see where I am. Oh, 26 minutes. I gotta shut it off, guys. I'm gonna make a part two. Um, I'm sorry I'm not as efficient at making videos. It's been a while. I'll get used to it. Uh, and it won't be 30 minutes of two records, but I talk too much. That's what the problem is. Um, yeah, because I still have quite a few LPs to share with you guys. So I'll be back. Hopefully, probably Sunday. I'll be back. All right, guys. Secretary Funk. It's good to be back on deck. Signing off. Oh, Blake, here's my copy of Little Bird. Yes, I'm so glad that you enjoyed the LP. By the way, I was so scared that you had it. I'm like, man, you don't understand. Like nothing is. I understand where the saying comes from. It's better to give to than to receive because it just makes me feel good, man. Like I'm so glad that you like it. And yes, yes, that was totally intentional. Me giving you this LP because I know that you like Farouk. Unfortunately, we're not gonna hear anything else from Farouk unless there's some unreleased pieces of music that maybe some people that are close to him are sitting on. We won't hear anything new from him, and so I've been on a quest to try to find that sound, and I have found it in William Parker. Unfortunately, Blake, a lot of the best William Parker, to me, some of the best William Parker music is not on vinyl. Uh, and then some of the other William Parker releases go really, really heavy into free and improvised. I could dig that, but it's not as it's not the best spoonful. It doesn't go down as easy as this. This is right where I want to be, as you say, in the sweet spot of that free jazz sound. That's spot on with that comment. But yes, I'm glad you like it. All right, everybody, I'm out of here. Take care.